go.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Coyote Picture Podcast, a podcast where every month we pick an actor and create that actor's Mount Rushmore of their four best films or four defining performances, bringing on a guest for each one to talk about it. I'm Patrick Mitchell, and I'm joined by.
Hey, my name's Silas. I was friends with Patty back in university, still friends now, and I'm excited to talk about this with him.
Today we're talking about Scent of a Woman. This is the third episode in the Pacino series. Charlie Sims is a student at a private preparatory school who comes from a poor family. To earn money for his flight home to Gresham, Oregon for Christmas, Charlie takes a job over Thanksgiving looking after retired U.S. Army officer Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade. Silas, why do you love Scent of a Woman? When did you first watch it?
Well, first watch, actually, I remember this first watch quite well. Um, I know it was my roommate Carson that was really suggesting it to me. Um, I'm not sure kind of what made him bring it up, but we would
Shout
always
out
just
Carson.
yeah, shout out Carson. We would always watch just movies in our living room, on like a Tuesday night or when we had nothing else going on. And he was a huge advocate to watch this one. And um was different from what we normally watch for sure. I mean,
Yep.
you could say it's a bit slower, even though it doesn't feel slow, like just like it's dialogue heavy, right? Where I guess in a house of like six dudes, you probably normally watch comedy flicks or action stuff like that. So it was kind of different from what we would normally go into. And I was going into it not knowing what Scent of a Woman would even be about. Um, I still don't necessarily, I don't know if I agree with the title. We can talk about that later. But
Okay.
yeah, I had a great experience watching it. I laughed. Even though it was long runtime, it just flew by, and I just rewatched it again this week, and it still just flew by. It was in the days when I first just opened my
Yep.
letterbox, and it was one of the first fives I gave it. I was like, yeah, this is a great movie, and I first watch I didn't find any flaws. Maybe on the second, there's little more flaws in it, but I just love this film. It was great.
I mean, I remember coming over to your place, I guess right after you'd watched it or that day or that weekend or whatever, and you had just started the letterbox. I think you immediately threw it in your top four. Like it was there
Yeah.
right off the bat as like this is one of the best films I've ever seen. And I remember not being confused by it, but I hadn't seen Son of a Woman since elementary school before I watched it again this week. I did like we had to do some project where it was like talk about a dance and you put in a movie scene. So I did the tango, and I guess we'll talk about the tango scene later. Um, but I remember being a little confused because so much of the reputation of Scent of a Woman is it's the Pacino Oscar win. And people are like, how didn't he win for The Godfather? Why didn't he win for Serpico? Why didn't he win for Dog Day? And I do feel like there is an unjust public bashing of Scent of a Woman. And like, how was that the one that won Pacino's Oscar? But you are of the opinion that this is Pacino's best performance.
Oh, it's great. I mean, like I said earlier, the whole movie is just dialogue, and he's captivating the whole time. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen all the Pacino movies, so I can't really stack it up against the other. I mean, I've seen Godfather, obviously. I haven't
Mhm.
seen Scarface though. That's my big one. That's embarrassing that I haven't seen. So
That's
I
my
thought
favorite. That's my favorite Pacino. It's not my favorite Pacino performance, but it's my favorite Pacino movie.
I'll be watching that this week. I feel like I it's hard for me to compare them when I haven't even watched Scarface, but I see nothing wrong with a win in for this film. It was an incredible
Yeah.
performance. What was wrong with it? I don't nothing. It was
I
great.
I like him a lot in it, and I feel like a lot of people go after the bigger Pacino performances. And I do think on a technical level, this is an incredible performance. Like just on like, if we just strip it down to this purely technical level, the way that he is playing a blind man, and is it flashy and is it showy? Yes, but it also kind of needs to be. Like this needs to be a larger than life character because he's the center of the movie. He's the engine of this movie's plot. It is almost a character study of him. He needs to be larger than life. And there is a way that I think his character, which in his character is intentionally trying to be larger than life. Like he's this big military man and he's used to leading a troop of men and he's presenting this facade for them as this big, tough guy. The character's supposed to be larger than life in that way. And in terms of Pacino playing blind, you always believe it. It never gives up. It's even I think about the moment when he's in kind of the mock court, the kangaroo court, and he goes to stand up and he like reaches for the table. Like he kind of always is like a little short of where things are. Like at first when the Chris O'Donnell character enters the room, he's looking for the whiskey bottle and he's looking for the glass, and his hands always are searching and they're lingering, and it's very it's so it almost appears unconscious in the way he does it. And I think because he's doing all these things, he's playing a character with a lot of bravado, he's playing a character with a physical ailment. I feel like people have over the years disregarded how good this character and how good this performance is.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like with the blind stuff, it's the little things that he
Yep.
does that really make it pop. Like even the eye contact throughout the whole film, it's
It's
just
always a
dis
little off. Yeah.
yeah, and it's perfect. And you talked about in that first scene when he's looking for the drink when Charlie first comes in, and the drink is just sitting on his armrest, kind of like out the front. And
Yeah.
he's always says like the try, let me try to find it. But in that scene, I was so stressed. I'm like, he's gonna knock that thing over. He can't see
Well,
it.
he pours a lot into it.
Yeah,
Like
he
that
does.
whiskey glass is it's full to like the top because he's not looking at how much is in.
Oh man, yeah, it's I do love that that's a reoccurring theme that dudes just straight drinking whiskey, and I have
Yeah.
whiskey for today for this
Oh,
exact
what
reason.
did you bring? I didn't bring whiskey because I'm a little under the weather, so I need something to keep my voice up. I got a Stella right here. What are you drinking?
I got the Christmas stocking classic, the triple
Ooh, that
famous.
looks good.
Yeah, so we'll see how it tastes. It should be fine.
Cracking of that. Which one are you opening up?
Reserve Series Black Barrel.
That looks good. I do think the other thing about him is that he's very likable. You kind of like, no matter how cranky he is, no matter how abrasive he is, no matter how outright mean he is, I don't think there's a moment where you as the audience aren't kind of rooting for him. And I mean, maybe it's because right before he's introduced, I think it's like his daughter is like, oh, he's a lump of sugar. He's a nice guy underneath. But you always kind of like him. And I think it's important to that movie and important to the whole second act in New York, that whole hour, 15 minutes, that you like hanging out with him. It's always a lot of fun to hang out with him.
What is it about him that you think makes it likable? Because on the surface, yeah, it's just a bitter, old, honestly horrible person. But
I
there is that likableness. What do you think it is that kind of brings that in?
I think one, it's the Pacino performance and how big he is, but also how funny he is. Like Slade is kind of also a bit of the comedic relief in ways, in terms of he's the one who makes a lot of jokes. It's Chris O'Donnell, and we'll get to Chris O'Donnell. He's a bit more of a wet blanket and going, no, no, I don't want to do this. Whereas Pacino gets to have the fun. He gets to be the exciting one who make cracks jokes and brings us on the adventure. And he's always up to hijinks. Like, I mean, this at its core is kind of an adventure movie where the second he's with the Slade character, Slade goes, we're going on an adventure to New York. I got a bucket list of 4 things I need to do. And it is like going off an adventure with him. There's something fun to that. There's something to we kind of just want to see everything this character has to say or do. Because every time he's on screen, it feels like he's saying something. Maybe it's not something of importance, but it's funny or it's big or it's interesting, and we do want to be on that journey with him. I wrote in my notes that Slade is a military man full of anger and regret, but also a softness. He's used to rules and formality between him and other men due to his time in the military. In many ways, this New York adventure is one last training mission to impart his wisdom onto a young soldier. It's a fun time to hang with Pacino in all his eccentricities. You just want to go on an adventure with this guy the moment he hijacks the movie. And there's also a mystery about his plans because he's the engine of what makes this movie so much fun, as well as being such an explosive character in his own right. I feel like you immediately see you enjoy watching this guy on screen, which then makes him likable. and then makes you buy into the softness underneath the character. I think Pacino is doing so much here. I think it's really great.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What kind of did it for me was I didn't really pick up onto this until the second time, but like really an underlying theme in his like demeanor and how he was acting the whole time is his loneliness, right? And kind of that need to not be lonely. And uh I think it's his like interest and want and the way he goes about building relationships, at least for me, that made him likable. Because looking through the dynamic between Charlie and Slade, I always just like related back to like relationships I have in my own life with like
Yeah.
older people who may be also feeling loneliness or like I don't know if you've ever like sat down at a coffee shop and just had a conversation with someone who was there sitting alone. Like I got that almost
Yeah.
that similar thing where like yeah it can be bitter or a little hard to kind of crack into but you can kind of sense that feeling of they want to be like less lonely, right? And I feel like that really made me almost gain like sympathy for the character even
Mhm.
though total jerk kind of right from the get-go.
There is something universal about him in that way. There is something recognizable in the trope that this character is building off of that makes you buy into the Slade, that buy into the Slade thing right off the bat. It makes you buy into him. He's always just entertaining. He's always entertaining on screen. There is, I don't know. Do you have a favorite? What's your favorite Slade moment in this movie? Or favorite Pacino moment? Do you have a scene of his that you're? What's the best part of the adventure?
All right, so I got two things. So my favorite line is when they first get to the hotel room, he's like, pass me that John Daniels. And Charlie's like, you
Yeah,
mean Jack? And he's like, when you know him as long as I have, that won me over. Like, yeah, that's just so witty and just like fast and
incredible bit.
yeah, it was great. I think scene wise, I mean, I probably got to go Tango, maybe. You kind of see that youthfulness kind of spring out to him when he does get like the genuine interaction with a woman. Like, yeah, he has that whole escort scene, but that's it's not the same as actually like dancing with a woman, right? And um kind of that genuine connection that he had in that moment. You can kind of see him uh become joyful, become youthful again. And I think that was it was done really well. I don't know. That whole scene was just it felt like a good culmination of what he was trying to achieve for himself kind of on that trip. And yeah, I always kind of wish that maybe Charlie got up the courage to ask someone to dance himself, kind of in that
Yeah.
scene. But I don't know. What was your favorite?
My two favorites, one, okay, my favorite Slade moment is when he drives the Ferrari blind. When he's driving around in New York and he's just whipping by streets. Like there's the shot where it's on like the other block almost, and you see them in between buildings.
Oh yeah,
It rocks. It's so good. It's such a funny scene. Like in terms of just like pure comedy, when it cuts to him behind the wheel and he starts driving, I was howling the whole time. It's
yeah,
so funny. He's got that great exchange with the cop at the end. But I also really love the scene where he goes to his brother's place. I do think there's something funny about Slade when he makes this bucket list of like things he's gonna do before he shoots himself. And he's like, number one, I gotta go stir shit up with my brother, and I gotta go ruin his Thanksgiving. And like the second they show up, you're like, this is not gonna be good. He's calling everybody by the wrong name, and then he gets into this whole fight with his family. But then Bradley Whitford, I didn't know if you recognized that was him, the dad from Get Out.
oh, okay, yeah,
That was him at the table, the son of his brother, his nephew. When he
yeah,
gives that line where he's like, he was always an asshole, now he's just a blind asshole. I think that's just an incredible line. Like
yeah.
it really does summarize 65 years of backstory for this guy in a
Mhm.
way where you're like, yeah, I guess being blind did not make him this much of a prick. He's always been this thorny and abrasive and cruel and almost a little insecure. And then he,
Yeah.
he lashes out. Like it's the one scene where it doesn't feel like Slade has the upper hand in the situation.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I find that something that always stood out to me with that scene is that he's always in like I think you can say intentionally using wrong names, right? Um,
mhm,
really, really agitate. And then when a wrong name gets used back in his direction, when they call in Charlie Chuck, and then he
Yeah,
flips out and puts the guy in a chokehold, that was just it was funny. That's you know what I mean? Is
yeah,
the whole thing, the whole time, he's just on and on and on, and then happens in the reverse. It's kind of right at the beginning where the first thing that, or one of the first things Charlie's told is, "Don't call him sir." He walks in, instantly calls him sir.
yeah.
It's the humorous kind of undertone in the dramatic performance is great. Mhm.
I think there. I mean, I think it's a good transition to move over to the Chris O'Donnell character. Charlie Sims.
Mhm.
Is Chris O'Donnell good in this movie? And does he have a good character?
I think so. I always liked it. I think what I get out of it is it's this kid who is smart enough to get into this prep school in financial aid. He's young, he's impressionable, and he's for the first part, he's always acting the way he's always been told he should act. Like
Hmm.
he's trying to become this person that he thinks he should become. And that is his behavior for like at least the first like half, almost three-quarters of the film. And I think you could like, yeah, you could say that's a bit like boring or it's yeah, like uninteresting, but seeing he sticks to his morals throughout the whole thing, which is great to
Hmm.
see. Yeah, maybe there's not the movie focuses on Frank, right? So it does take a little bit over his progression, but I do think they both gain a lot from each other. The whole thing is about the relationship between the two. I know it's kind of focused on this end of life bucket list for Frank and kind of his almost acceptance with his
Hmm.
circumstances, but Charlie is also growing through that experience as well.
That's a
As
good point. I like that.
as far as the acting performance itself, I had no issues with it. It didn't stand out as, oh, could have been better. I didn't see any issues with it. I don't think he probably should have won an award for it. Like, it didn't stand out or anything, but I don't think it held the movie back in any way.
I don't know if it holds the movie back. I mean, we have a list of names that Chris O'Donnell got the role over. He got it over Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Brendan Fraser, and also weirdly Chris Rock auditioned for this. And at this time, basically every young man in Hollywood was like Chris O'Donnell just has us beat. That kid's going to be the movie star. This is kind of his apex mountain. This is kind of the peak of Chris O'Donnell. Everybody wanted this role to act opposite Pacino, who they knew was going to be huge. And I mean the way this movie was presented was Pacino's going to win that Oscar because you sort of have. I mean, I want to go on this tangent real quick, and I'll wrap it back around to the Chris O'Donnell thing. Pacino did Scarface, and before that, it was Author, and he's kind of in a rough period. And then he does this big movie, Revolution, that is just a bomb. It's a historical revolution movie. It doesn't do well with critics. It goes way over budget. It goes over schedule. Pacino takes a break. He takes a break for 5 years. He comes back, and he's still kind of waiting around. He does a movie called Sea of Love. He does sort of a romance movie with Michelle Pfeiffer where they reteam after Scarface called Frankie and Johnny. Godfather 3, which is kind of like sort of just like a famous miss. A movie that I don't think can ever really be reclaimed because of how good the other two are.
Mhm.
And then Scent of a Woman comes along. And there's almost like something bragging about it, where you look at the poster and it's him and Chris O'Donnell, and they're walking in the autumn, like it looks like something like out of Dead Poets. That kind of the late '80s, early '90s, where it's like you want to make a prestige movie, you're setting it up in I don't know New York State or Massachusetts or Connecticut, like some kind of in that northeast of the United States, and it's going to be fall and it's going to be a little academic and you've got that. And then above the title in big spaced out letters, you've got Pacino. And he had never won the award. And I mean, he probably looks at guys like Nicholson, who had won He had one for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at that point, and then De Niro had one for Godfather 2, and Raging Bull, and Hoffman had one. Like all of his contemporaries had one. This was the Pacino crowning moment, and it's almost like everybody knew this before a frame of the movie was shot. Everybody wants this Chris O'Donnell role. I think the fundamental issue with the Chris O'Donnell character is that he has to be a bit of a wet blanket. While Pacino is big and he's gunning for it and saying, let's go on this adventure, we as the audience want to go on the Pacino adventure. We want to see him do the tango. We want to see him drive the Ferrari blind. We want to see him go stir shit up with his brother, which means the Chris O'Donnell character needs to be a pseudo audience insert for us for a large chunk of that movie where he's just telling Pacino no. And I think that makes him really tough to get behind and appear really whiny for large stretches of that movie. I don't know. That was a bit of a double thing between where Pacino's at in his career, why people wanted it. I guess a triple thing with the function of the Chris O'Donnell character for a large part of this in the whole second act is he kind of just needs to tell Pacino no.
Yeah, I get that, but if he wasn't saying no the whole time, would the movie feel as good? Would it feel as like end of life like bucket list for Frank? Because if he just went along with everything that he said and everything he wanted, it would just be kind of like an adventure movie of a bunch of things that like I think it's the attitude that he brings that no, this isn't something we should be doing. This isn't right, or just
Mhm.
say kind of like the rules. It kind of adds that contrast for the actions of Frank Slade to actually seem outrageous and seem adventurous. Because things just like booking a hotel room, going out for dinner, right? If the whole movie Charlie just went around, I was like, yeah, let's go do that. Yeah, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like I'm already getting paid. Now I get to go to New York as well. Like I feel like that just makes for a boring movie. And I know like him saying no the whole time, it doesn't make it like I don't know the word I'm trying to say. But it really adds that needed contrast to really like illuminate on kind of how Frank is going through this end of life thing and really trying to achieve these things. And yeah, I feel like the movie doesn't work if he goes alone. It doesn't work if Charlie just says yes the whole time or suggests crazy things as well. I think you kind of need that dynamic of showing the right and the wrong, even though nothing that they did was objectively wrong. But given the time of his life and his mindset, I feel like yes, maybe it doesn't make for a super memorable performance on Chris O'Donnell's part, but I think Pacino wouldn't have been able to stand out without that.
I guess that's right. I guess he kind of needs a more normal guy to bounce off of that hard and to add that contrast. And I totally get with what you're saying by it makes the Pacino character seem more rebellious and it makes him seem more colorful. But it just, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird function thing, Catch 22 at the movie, where I think that works, I guess, well for the second act, where Pacino really takes over as the lead. But then by the time we get back to the third act, because the Chris O'Donnell character has been saying, no, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to leave. I'm going to leave you here. And I know he comes around to grow to Pacino and they become closer. By the time you get to the third act, because the Chris O'Donnell character has had to be stopping the fun almost for an hour and 15 minutes, I kind of just care a little less when he gets back to school.
Yeah.
I bounce off. I love the Pacino monologue watching it because it's big and it's grand and he's chewing scenery. He's gonna take a flamethrower to this place. But the O'Donnell character, I feel like gets lost somewhere in that second act because of it. Because he kind of has to get sacrificed for this big Pacino performance.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I feel like yeah, it's almost like a story about like it's based where the protagonist is Charlie, right? But the whole movie is not about him. Um,
No, it's about Frank. This is
yeah.
Frank's movie. This is the Pacino performance.
One thing that I always thought was weird, and I thought maybe you'd be able to touch on this. You know, probably definitely a bit more about what goes on behind a film. But what I found really weird about this movie, and one thing that I didn't like, or maybe it's just on a deeper level, I'm not fully grasping it, but the whole movie, Charlie's the one saying like, "No, I can't tell my friends. I can't snitch. I can't snitch." And Frank is saying, "Oh, but the other guy's gonna snitch. You have to just secure your future." And then at the end, he shows up and defends him, and then he has that big line. He's like, "But he's not a snitch." You know what I mean? And I feel
Yeah.
like maybe I missed something, but I don't think we got to see that progression of Frank Slade kind of switching his mind on that. It kind of just took me by surprise. I'm guessing I just missed something, but it felt weird to me that the whole film he was advocating for Charlie, and Charlie's main storyline is does he or does he not, right? And Frank has the same opinion throughout the whole thing, and then just at the end, he starts supporting the other opinion, and that never really made sense to me.
I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't really make sense to me either.
Okay.
I think the first and third act of this movie feel I think the first and third act of this movie feel out of sync with the second act. I don't really know what this whole, and it's a weird setup for a movie. Like if you have to, I've had to explain to people because people haven't seen this as much as they've seen like Heat or Scarface, like some of the other Pacino ones we've been doing. Like what Scent of a Woman's about? And it's like, well, there's these rich kids and they pull a prank because on the principal because they don't like that he has this fancy new Jaguar that was bought by the board of trustees, and he saw the prank, so they're gonna cancel his scholarship to Harvard if he doesn't rat out who did the prank. But really, the movie's about him taking care of this blind veteran in New York, and I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be getting from the Charlie storyline at the school at Baird. I don't understand what I should be taking away. I guess it's like don't snitch. I guess so, but like I'm gonna be honest, I hate the little fuckers who did it as much as I hate the principal who had paint poured over his car. Like you
Yeah.
hate every party involved. You especially hate, and we'll get to him. We'll circle back to him because I want to keep going with this. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, you also hate him because
I
he's
agree.
phenomenal in this movie.
I loved him in the movie.
I mean, you hear stories about people being like, wow, Philip Seymour Hoffman was horrible in that movie. And you see it in some of the reviews. It's because he's so good in it. He's just downright nasty. And I found whenever he's on screen, my eyes are kind of wavering and lingering to where's Philip Seymour Hoffman. There's a shot where it's like all the boys are talking and he's in the back, like hanging out with others. I'm looking in the back at what Philip Seymour Hoffman's doing. He doesn't have
Okay.
a word of dialogue. I'm more focused on him. I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from it. I don't know. I'm kind of in the same place as you where I'm like, it doesn't really feel in sync. I don't totally know why he makes this decision. I mean, in character, it almost seems like he should just rat them out. Like this is a character who's a wannabe yuppie. He's a bit of a social climber. There, Frank says something to him where he's like, "You just want to be rich, and this is your stepping stone to get here. You want to be friends with these guys. You want your kids to grow up with these guys." And I think Frank Slade is kind of right. I think that's a really good read of that Charlie character for a lot of it. Like he's a real rule follower. Maybe that's why he gets along with this military man. And maybe Frank is teaching him to break the rules sometimes, I guess. I don't know. I don't really understand the lesson I should be learning from the kangaroo court stuff in the Charlie character.
Exactly. And I think that if you don't have the storyline of him and Frank, I don't think that changes anything about his decision making. Like, although he does like learn and grow from that, I think he would have done the same thing regardless. You know what I mean? It's not like uh I would expect in a movie like that relationship, that adventure would help inform a decision, and it really didn't. What
No.
it did do is it had a guy deliver one of the best monologues I have ever heard in a movie to defend his ass, and that was awesome to watch. But I don't think yeah that whole relationship arc I don't really think it impacted the conclusion of the movie at all.
The score? You like the score? Very sentimental.
I'm gonna be honest, so focused on the dialogue, I didn't even notice there was a score.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wrote down classic sentimental score and like that I liked it. kind of in my notes here. I don't know if I can remember his song.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
I don't know what the fuck I was writing about there.
I'm sure it would be it would feel empty without it. But I guess that's kind of the sign of a good score, right? When it's supplementary and not the main focus. Like something with Interstellar, a score is like the main selling point of it, right? Or
People
like Star.
love Interstellar. That's what people
Yeah,
love
but
that one. Do you like
I feel
Interstellar?
yeah, it's great. I mean, but
Okay.
I do like
I'm
movies with
I'm pretty
scores.
mixed on it. I'm iffy on it. It's probably my least favorite Nolan that isn't like the following.
That's fair. I mean, I like space, so I thought it was cool, and I like the whole
I
like time
guess.
thing. A score doesn't have to be present for it to complement the movie. I mean, I did love Sinners, and the reason for that was the score. It's not
Hmm.
because I like vampires; it's because the music was killer. Um,
Sinner's music is phenomenal. This has been a great year for score.
oh yeah, yeah. So, but I feel like I wouldn't want a overly in your face score on this film. It's not that type of thing. It's like imagine if there was like a big theatrical score on like 12 Angry Men. It's like no,
That's true.
it's not supposed to be there. It doesn't need to be there. The score wouldn't win any awards or I mean, I don't think it did, right?
I don't think so. I'm looking at the noms right now.
Shouldn't have.
No, it's nominations: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay. This is based on like an Italian book.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, it's based on the Italian novel Darkness and Honey by Giovanni Arpino, and it was a
Interesting.
1974 Italian film. I
Hmm.
mean, Pacino wins the Oscar this year. We've kind of talked about this a couple times.
Mhm.
It's a good crop of nominees. It's Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood for Unforgiven, Robert Downey Jr. for Chaplin, which I mean that's a movie that kind of gets a lot of hate now. It's like just some biopic. I watched it in high school and I liked it.
Yeah.
Stephen Ree in The Crying Game, and the one that I kind of thought should have won. I think Denzel Washington in Malcolm X is kind of one of the greatest performances ever. Um, I mean, it's
That's
hard.
probably
You can't snub Pacino again. That's just kind of the thing with the Oscars. It's like Jack Lemmon loses for The Apartment, so he snubs Pacino for Serpico, and because Pacino loses for Serpico, he snubs Denzel for Malcolm X. And it's like I like Denzel in Training Day. Malcolm X is such his definitive performance, as well as like one of the definitive political and historical epics, that it just kind of sucks that that's not a Denzel crowning moment. It's the weird thing with the Oscars in hindsight.
yeah. I mean, I feel like stuff like that happens every year where they give it to the
Hmm.
person they sh think should win, not the one who deserves it. Like I even know this year, like I think Leo was better than Timmy.
I
I think
think I think
a lot
I
of
think a
people think,
lot of people are better than Timmy this year.
yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. I don't give the Oscars like too much weight. One I do really respect, I feel like Best Picture is always usually kind of solid. I haven't been like that up to date with Oscars. I haven't been that locked in, but every Best Picture nom that I've watched, I've been like, yeah, it's a good movie. I don't always enjoy it,
I mean, what are
but
your
like.
thoughts on this year's Oscar crop? Like, what I don't know, the ones you've seen, the big four. I think this year, I think this is the year of a big four, and I think it's One Battle. I think it's Hamnet. I think it's Marty Supreme, and it's Sinners.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Marty Supreme or Hamnet, so I can't necessarily dive all the way in. I've been told by half the people that I'll love Marty Supreme. I've been told by half that I'll hate it. And then Hamnet, I really do want to see that, but I'm not going to pay to go see that at the theater. I'm just going to wait till it goes on streaming. I know that is bad for cinema,
I
but
saw all four in theaters. I think Hamnet is improved a lot by seeing it in a communal space because it's a
mm,
movie about the way art can bring us together, as well as a tribute to art in a communal space and what it means to feel these emotions with other people in a way that I think works really well in the theater. And I think the reason why it could never win in today's Hollywood, even though it's not my favorite of these four for sure, um, is because a lot of Oscar voters will watch it on their TV in the middle of the day at like 3 o'clock.
yeah.
But like it's a movie that I think will go down kind of poorly in history, when I think a lot of its weight is based around being there in the theater.
That's okay. That's a good point. I do remember when it first screened, I was listening to CBC, and there was like three people in a row that came on and said, "Oh, we're calling it now. This is the best picture, 100%." I think it was on. They were talking on Commotion with Elamine
Hmm.
Abdelahmoud. Yeah, they were all just saying, "Yeah, this is the Oscar winner for this year." That was before uh, the other films that it's up against even came out.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to Son of a
Oh, we're
Woman,
way off topic. We're way off topic here.
there's something I did want to bring up. Um, I want to know your opinion on the suicide reveal and him saying that's his plan. It comes in so early into the movie. Do you think it would have been better if it was realized on like Charlie's own or revealed either like later in the film? Because he just drops it as soon as they come into New York.
No, I think you need that for the suspense of the whole thing. I don't think, in
Mm,
terms of a pure screenwriting standpoint, I don't think him going, it's a mystery, I'm not going to tell you, is enough to keep up a movie of this length. And a movie that, well, it moves really quickly and it's always enjoyable. Like I'm never bored watching it. It's not like this rapid kinetic pace. It's very much like these, it's almost a bit of a hangout movie in some ways, where it's
yeah.
like, what are they going to get up to for this like 20 minutes? They're going to go do this off the bucket list. They're going to go eat dinner. You need that as a ticking clock, as in, one, this adventure will be fun, but also Charlie needs to find a way to have this guy not shoot himself in the head. And it always feels like he's a bit of a loose cannon in that way. He's a
Yeah.
little unpredictable. You don't know what he's gonna do, and he's perfectly okay with getting the shit kicked out of him, or dying, or ruining his life, because in his mind there is no Monday morning. And I think you need that kind of ticking clock for suspense in terms of just kind of keeping us invested and something to jump back to almost as a bit of a not B plot, but a bit of a drum beat throughout the movie.
No, no, I understand what you mean. It adds suspense for the whole thing rather than just maybe a more exciting ending, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, it makes
That
those like
scene is
little things.
great though, when he confronts them and Pacino when he walks in
Mhm.
and Pacino's in his full military garb. It's a good scene. So just a good shot, a good reveal.
No, 100%, I agree with you. It's stressful. I remember uh there's well, when I first watched it, we were in the social setting. There was zero talking during that scene. We were just all just like locked in, kind of seeing um all that and the kind of what you're saying with it creating that suspense, it made little parts of the movie really stand out to me a lot more. Like when they go to that dinner table and everyone's at first like really mean to him, he tries to make like these like low comments, Charlie, saying like, hey, like you should be nice to him, you should you know what I mean. So he's not going, I think throughout the film, he doesn't do any obvious things to try to stop him, except for in the actual scene itself. But you're doing like these small things to kind of try to almost make him his life better indirectly, right? Giving him like compliments and stuff like that. And yeah, none of that
Mhm.
would have if the real reveal was later. So yeah, I think I agree with that. I was thinking on the second watch, this movie reminded me a lot of The Holdovers. It's
It
kind
is
of
a lot like the holdovers.
yeah, it's the prep school, it's the break, you know, and then it's like that young immature guy and the old bitter guy, and they both have something to learn from each other and that relationship that develops between the two people. And I can't believe I didn't notice that on the first one because I think I watched Holdovers in like the same month. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it stuck out to me the second time. I was like, no way. Like Holdovers is kind of a remake of this. I mean, different kind of plot points, and obviously Holdovers has a larger ensemble, but it's kind of in like the essence, it feels like the same adventure in a sense.
I think that's a really good point. And I think these are the type of movies like I was saying Dead Poets and Scent of a Woman that a movie like The Holdovers is riffing off of. And I mean it's also riffing off a bit of like 70s movie, like a bit off like something like Harold and Maude or something. But I think a really niche detail, I'll say, which it compares it to, not just that their main characters are drunk and kind of see no way forward, like their old mentors are trying to give a new way forward for a young person while not being able to see a way forward for themselves. But also, they're very seasonal movies.
Yeah.
Holdovers is very winter, whereas Scent of a Woman, this feels like a fall movie, especially at the end when he's dropping Slade off, when he gets dropped off in
Oh,
the limo. Um, it's very
actually,
fall.
that
It,
last scene is something I did want to talk about. Something that
I
kind
got
of
a
like
point there too.
yeah, it made me emotional was you could see how when he got out and interacted with his niece, that contrast from how he interacted with her at the beginning, and how you can see that he's developed and he's grown more sympathy and he's found that love for life again. Um, but there's that the essence of that niece just remembering the way she's been treated everywhere, every time since before, and
Hmm.
she not reciprocating. She is just like, get away from me. You're mean. I don't know what she says, but it's not reciprocating that sincerity that he was bringing in that final scene. And I always thought that was interesting because, like, yes, you can change, but that doesn't erase your past behaviors in a sense.
I think that's a genuinely a really great point. And
Mm.
I think that's a huge part of the Slade character is just because he changed, he's certainly not better with his brother.
Yeah,
He's certainly not better in terms with his family, but it's almost the commitment to change. I don't
exactly.
know. He hasn't altered everything around him, but he realizes there's a life worth living and there's a reason to keep going, and it's worth it to try to be good. And there is something a little beautiful too. He has given himself a fresh start. The
Yeah.
other thing with this scene, why the fuck do they treat the limo driver like he's this big character? When no, I thought that like because the limo driver gets out and they're like, I don't even remember the limo driver's name, but I'm just gonna call him like Tom. But they're like, Tom, thanks for driving us around. We love seeing you. And like they crack like an inside joke with Tom. I don't think that guy had one fucking line before that scene. What
Dude,
was there an extra 10 minutes to the limo driver? I feel like the only part where he was in was when Frank's going to see the hooker and he gets on the phone and he's like, can I use this phone? And the limo driver goes, yeah. But they give him this whole farewell in the middle of the street, like
dude,
before Frank.
he had the escort pickup, man. That guy was a dog.
How,
They loved it, bro.
how did Frank get that escort? Did he just phone her up? Is that what he was doing did he do that on the phone at the
Well,
beginning?
he asked the limo driver for his connects, and he said, I could work something out for you."
Okay.
Something like that. I don't remember him.
You know
Oh,
what? Maybe
he
he
did phone.
deserved
He
that
phoned in the
goodbye.
back of the car, but um, I'm not sure. All I remember from that scene was actually I'm really glad they didn't actually show him going in. That's something I wanted. Like that made the
Yeah.
movie better. We didn't need to really have a
Hmm.
whole story about that. Kind of
No,
seeing him.
I think it would have been really weird to throw. And I'm not one of the people who are like sex scenes shouldn't be in movies, blah 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 blah. I don't think that would have added a whole lot of anything.
No, no, it was so unneeded. And I remember the first time I watched, I was like, I'm glad they didn't show that. And
Because like,
second time, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't needed in that film. It wasn't about that. Like I
Because
guess
I
it's
feel
called,
like the
but
yeah.
it's about much more than actually his like lust. You know what I mean?
I don't even really I mean, I think initially when he starts giving that monologue about women on the plane, you feel like it's about lust. I think it's about something almost validating,
Yeah, it's
but
loneliness.
almost it's loneliness. But I do think there's something with the Slade character where he sees his view of women as akin to a man walking through an art gallery.
Mm.
Our view of the way he sees sex, I think it's more interesting that it's limited to his words in this scenario than it would be physical actions if we were to see it. I think seeing Slade through Charlie is a more interesting and compelling way to handle that. And I think him coming out of the apartment and he's not like skipping and being like, let's go, giving a high fives. Limo driver's probably asking, how was it? But he just feels sad. He just like kind of collapses into himself
Yeah,
in the
that's why I
back of
talked
that
about
limo.
the contrast between that and the tango scene, because the tango scene was it was true happiness, and you could really
Hmm.
see that. And Pacino did a really good job of because neither of those emotions were conveyed through his speech. It was all
No.
just his actions and his facial expressions, and I think he did a really good job of that.
Yeah, you can see him getting more down as he approaches what he has planned as his suicide. And I think that's why it's important why you need that kind of ticking bomb
Hmm.
to explain that in the context of a first viewing. But you can see his mood gradually worsen throughout the movie. So when it's like, oh, he just slept with a woman, this was kind of his goal to get the scent of a woman. And he gets in, he's just like defeated. He doesn't really care anymore. And I mean, even on the days he was to commit suicide, he's kind of more interested in just laying in bed. Like he's like, yeah, I kind of did my to-do list. I'll just kind of lay around here until I gather up the courage to do it.
Yeah,
I don't
no, that
know.
makes.
Like
Also, I gotta say, I always found the perfume smelling thing to be actually a bit creepy. Who knows all that? Like, I guess he's blind, right? His sense of smells better, but you spending time memorizing the name of a bunch of women's perfumes.
that's the fucking thing. That's the thing. Do you think he goes to like Sephora and he's like using the braille to like figure out which one it is? And he's like,
Uh,
oh, it's this one, Chanel. What if there was someone who could do that? What would the actual reaction be? I feel like he'd get hit.
yeah, no, it's. I've done it once, I will say, but it's because they were wearing the same one I had. I
You've
was like,
done it to
oh,
the oh,
that was a
I
dude.
thought that
Oh,
was a move. That's how I met Dana.
yeah. No, I was like, dude, we're wearing the same cologne, dude. He's like, oh, hell yeah. And it was just like a bro combo. I would never, ever, even if actually, I couldn't name the name of one perfume, but if I ever did, I wouldn't even mention it if I knew which one they were wearing.
Any other nitpicks?
I always thought it was weird that he needed babysitting. I feel
I guess it's
like
more just like
he
making
was living in
food.
a shack. What is it, 100 square feet? I'm sure he could get to the microwave or something.
I
Like
don't even
he,
think he eats that much. I think he just wakes up in the morning and pours like I don't know,
Mhm.
a big pint of Jack Daniels, like a full pint, and he just works on it throughout the day.
Yeah. Maybe I never really fully understood the timeline of him becoming um blind because at first
I
when I
was
first
gonna
watched
bring
the
this
movie,
up.
yeah,
This is what I was gonna transition to.
when I first watched the movie, I was thinking, oh, like this is supposed to be like an old dude, like maybe like early 80s. But then when I actually look at Pacino, he's not like he looks maybe 50s, right? And then when they're talking about the grenade, they're talking like it was actually fairly recent. So if that's the case, and he actually did go blind actually fairly recently before the movie, like maybe like let's say like a 2 to 5 year timeline, then it would make sense that he does need that babysitting, right? It's not like he's been blind for his whole life and he knows how to manage it, right? Like if it's a
Yeah,
newer experience, I totally understand that aspect. And that also explains more of the
he was
bitterness.
older because he had the lieutenant colonel rank. Like he
But
would
that's
have had
like
progression.
long,
And
yeah.
it wasn't just even that he made it to lieutenant colonel, it was that he was continually being passed over for promotion. So he
Yeah.
was there for longer than we thought. The thing is going to say, he blinds himself by juggling grenades and one explodes in front of him. It would just like kill, it wouldn't just blind you. I feel like he'd be
Oh,
maimed. I feel like he'd be in a wheelchair.
100%. That's also another thing
I
I
feel like he would
did.
have killed his buddy. Like,
Maybe it was flashbangs or something. I don't really know how grenades
I don't
work.
know. That'd be a
One thing
sick
I
party
would,
trick, though. If we're talking about party tricks this guy can do, he can smell the perfume. He juggles grenades. Like, I feel like Slade would be awesome at the club. I feel like he'd be a good time. Imagine going to the pub with Frank.
yeah, yeah. No, I
All-time
totally
movie
agree.
hang.
And on dumb points, that grenade thing was another one I wanted to bring up. They say in the story that uh he was like being funny, right? And he pulled the pin out of one to juggle it. My limited knowledge of grenades, if you pull the pin out and release it, then it's just active, right? What are you
Yeah,
achieving by pulling the pin out? Like you
that's
are
what I
literally
mean.
activating a grenade is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And
I
it's
guess he
not
wants
like,
to put it back in.
but can you? I feel like once it's like I feel like you know you pull the thing
I don't know.
and as long as you hold it closed, to be fair, this is like Call of Duty knowledge. I'm not in the military,
Yeah, I
but
don't really know a whole lot about grenades.
I feel like it starts the countdown when you release the lever. And I don't think you can close the lever to stop it. I mean, if someone knows different, please correct me, but I don't know. I feel like that was just
Yeah.
well, one, juggling with live grenades is stupid, but I don't know. That always but I guess that was kind of a point that where it was a stupid mistake and he knew that. Um
I'm gonna be
but
honest, man. You can say whatever you want because I don't think the people who know a lot about the functions of grenades, as well as like what it's like to be in the active military, are
no,
frequent listeners of the Coyote Picture Club podcast. I don't
it's a,
think there's any. I think the Venn diagram is just two independent circles. There's no crossover there. Say whatever you want, man. Say whatever you want. There's no one who's gonna fact check you. You're the
uh,
authority in this room.
I bet there's some blind veterans that love this movie and that are listening
I
to this
mean, do you
podcast
think
right now.
there's some blind veterans who blinded themselves juggling grenades, who can smell every perfume, and are just pissed that we're ripping on this movie, who are just really fucking mad.
Like I like ripping on it, but this is still a 5 out of 5 movie for me. I love it. It's so
I
good.
really do like it. I think it's really good. I think it's really fun. Like, I love the scene when he's driving a Ferrari fucking blind, and he's got like Chris O'Donnell in the seat, and he's like, "Tell me when to turn."
That's unrealistic. Come on. What are you talking about? The fact that he didn't do it
Driving
once before.
blind.
No, no, no. Taking the turn. Driving blind, I get that. You can just say
Oh my
left,
God, the
right.
turn is crazy, and he hits that
No.
shit
Yeah,
so
then he pulls
well.
it twice. No, it's crazy, crazy. So I guess
It's
maybe
also that's a little out of character because I don't think he wants to hurt Charlie. But if he
now I
crashed,
don't buy
Charlie's
that.
cooked too.
But
Charlie's
blind
flying
even
through the windshield if he fucks that turn up.
then why risk it? I don't
I don't know. It's a
I,
fun movie though. I have a
yeah, I
blast
feel like
watching it.
diving a bit
Even
too
the
deep
si-
into a fun scene, you know.
well, even the I think that's the best scene in the movie. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Even the silly scenes, I just have a lot of fun watching it. It's always engaging.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I don't know if I said this in the podcast, but Pacino's my favorite actor. And the reason why Pacino's my favorite actor is I always find him engaging. I always find him entertaining. No matter what he's doing, no matter how big he gets, no matter how restrained he gets, whether he's playing a bank robber or a mafia don or a blind vet or a football coach or a sports betting expert, a lawyer. I don't care what Pacino's playing. Pacino and Jack and Jill, I find him engaging there. I always find him fun to watch.
Wait, but Cheetos
It's
and
part of his,
yeah.
yeah,
Like the Sandler movie?
yeah.
You're kidding. Oh, okay.
Go watch Jack and Jill, man. This is the second time I've talked about Jack and Jill in 3 episodes. Go watch Jack and Jill. Get back to me on it. It's not bad. Okay,
What are you
I
talking
heard,
about?
I got so much fucking shit for my Jack and Jill isn't that bad take on the last episode. It was well because last episode was a bad episode for me because one, people were mad I said Jack and Jill isn't that bad. Compared to like fucking bedtime stories, it's better than that shit.
I love bedtime
And
stories, man. Come
everybody,
on.
that's what everybody tells me. I always pick the wrong fucking Sandler to go after. And number two, I directly shout out Will Campbell in terms of my Super Bowl prediction. I'm like, Will Campbell is gonna play great. I name him second after Drake May.
Yeah.
I should have named Gonzalez or something. Then I would have showed I known ball. I knew
The second
ball.
you said your Super Bowl prediction, I knew I was a lock for my bet.
Yeah, I'm one. I mean, we were talking after the game. I picked Bengals over Rams because I'm a Bengals fan. I picked Eagles over Chiefs the first time. I picked uh Chiefs over 49ers. That one I got right. I picked Chiefs over Eagles, thinking they would three-peat. And then I kind of thought the Pats would squeak one out. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just kind of thought they were undervalued, underrated.
You think Frank Slade would be a Jets fan?
He's a little more Southern. He's got like this Southern drawl, but I guess his family's from New York. I feel like
Yeah,
he'd be a
he's
Giants fan.
yeah, but he's angry and depressed, man.
Maybe he's a Jets fan. I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably like the happiest Jets fan.
Happy Jets fan,
He's
yeah.
probably the most optimistic, best mood Jets fan there is.
Oh man.
If this was a Muppet movie, who's the human? Which Muppets are we casting? I had to bring in the expert for this one. I consider you the Muppet expert.
I appreciate that, man.
No
My
worries.
parents
This is
didn't let
that's a
me
big
watch
title.
my parents didn't let me watch any TV as a kid except for Jim Henson Productions. So I grew up on The Muppet Show and Fraggle Rock on VHS, man. I loved it. Um, I feel like this is obvious, but I feel like Frank Slade has to be Sam, the Eagle. Um,
Great take.
yeah, I mean, the patriotic, the angry, the straight to the point guy, right? I feel like that one wasn't as hard. Um, Charlie's a bit more difficult. The what I came to is I think Charlie would just be the human, kind of having to deal with this old grumpy Muppet the whole time. Like if you're having a
I like
human
that.
cast Muppet movie, I think Charlie would have to be that case. Um, the whole headmaster, he had a big role in talking big role is just a hand in the suit. Yeah. You know that slimy purple guy? He always plays a bad character. His name's Uncle Deadly.
Uncle Deadly. Let me look up Uncle
Yeah.
Deadly.
The worst Muppet, man. I hate that guy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Such a cool looking design.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It always freaked me out as a kid, but no, I have him as the principal, just like the guy that he just
I
sucks.
like
He's
that. I like that.
what would your casting be?
I mean, Uncle Deadly as the principal is really good. That's such a good deep pull. I think Pacino stays the one human. It's a big
Okay,
live wire because I feel like I'm thinking Christmas Carol where it's like Scrooge, Michael Caine, keep
yep,
that the human.
great movie.
Who is the Muppet who's Jason Segel's friend in the Muppet movie from like the early 2010s?
Ah, Walter.
Walter. Yeah, Walter in the Chris O'Donnell role, and then Pacino as Frank Slade.
You know what? I didn't even
Think about
consider
it.
Walter for Chris, because what I was thinking about was Scooter. I was like, nah, Scooter doesn't quite fit that. But
No,
Walter
Scooter's a
is
little
a
too
more,
fun.
yeah, Walter is the more immature child version of
Yep,
Scooter. Oh,
I
that's
like
perfect.
it. I
Mm.
like it. And when he does the tango dance, Miss Peggy,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
you got it right there. When he goes to stir shit up with his brother, I don't know. That should be like Rolf or something. I don't know. I'm
nah,
always a fan of casting Rolf and
Ralph's too
stuff.
happy. Do you know the that big bear guy who's always angry? Have you ever watched Muppets from Space?
I haven't seen Muppets in Space. Is that
Add
good?
that to watch it. Dude, it's incredible. It's about Gonzo wanting to go back to his hometown. It's incredible.
Can you give your best Pacino impression?
I mean, if we're going off this movie, man, it's got to be ha! Every 5 minutes, the dude's going.
No, it's hooah.
Nah, it starts as ha though, and then he goes into hoo.
Okay.
But it's like like almost that forceful laugh. I can't do it well. I can't do it justice.
Okay.
But knock on my eyesight and add 30 years to my life, dude. I bet I could nail
Okay,
that.
we'll bring you back here in 30 years and then we'll force you to do it. I like from this movie the I'm too tired, I'm too old, I'm too fucking blind. Like
Nah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I like that. I think a flame door to this place. You're out of order. I don't know. He's good. He's so big.
Oh, he's great. I
Um,
mean, he makes that movie. Oh my God.
that's been the Sense of a Woman episode. That's our longest episode. I don't know if anybody's gonna top this for a while. I feel
Nah,
like
this is
you might
fun.
hold this record for longest episode. So long we get to add a maybe add a bonus episode. Talk with the Jays and the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Silas, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on. Um, I don't know, subscribe and like on YouTube, follow and rate on Spotify. Next week, talking about Heat. So come back next Sunday. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, Silas, anything you want to shout out? You got anything going on? Anything you can shout out the Muppet Show.
You got to shout out the Muppet Show. Make sure you stream that up. We got to get that picked up for a
Yeah.
full season. We need that revival. And listen to the Fall Off by J. Cole. Man, that album was something special. I'm not seeing it getting enough love. as it
Okay.
deserves. Man, that thing is great. That's about it.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everybody.